Whenever you ready.
You got somebody laying on the floor at the gym. I know.
Man. Yeah, yes, sir. What station it is so people listen?
No static radio.
Yup, .net. We're on Mixler, TuneIn, Mixcloud, VideoQ, LiveOnlineRadio.net, NoStaticRadio.net.
I'm gonna check. Right.
One.
What up? What up? What up, everybody? What up with your world? Hope everybody's trying to stay cool. You know it's kind of hot. Everybody's in the hundreds running around. But we'll get through it. We'll be wishing for this come February. I got my big show today. I got my big man over here. Big Mike in the house.
How you doing, everybody?
Soon to be Olympian. Then I got my other crewmates back here. I got Big J behind me. No comment.
Nah, I'm just happy to be here.
Okay. Yeah. Then I got Mr. Florida that popped in.
So, world, how y'all feeling?
Go ahead, highlight yourself.
Oh, man. Orlando. Yep. Thanks for having me.
No problem to go.
Yep.
Everybody in prep modes right now, right?
Off season / prep. You might say. A
Okay.
6-month prep. Right. 6-month prep. Yep.
We already know what you.
I'm about as prepped as they come right now.
About as
Man.
prepped as they come right now.
You just look at my face and say, I got 2 more weeks till I start prep.
Because you're doing the national show, right?
Yeah, Texas.
Oh,
you doing NBC Nationals?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You going down to Houston?
It's Ivory.
Irene, Texas.
It's Dallas, man.
That's right. That's a rough show, man. Yeah, I heard. Doing physique. Doing a class, crossover class now. Crossover. You said you prefer physique.
I just do well in that.
Okay.
How you feeling going to the Olympia?
I feel good, man. You know, so no matter how tired I am, just knowing I'm going there, I'm pushing through, man. And it's been one of the best preps I ever had. Everything's on point. You know, every couple days I'm looking, I'm getting tighter. I'm still keeping some fullness, and I'm leaving no stone unturned, man. I'm gonna make it happen.
You know that plan, you gonna fall asleep. You don't sleep all the way to Romania.
That would be nice. I hope so.
Now, was the Masters, because that's what it is, the Masters Olympia?
Yeah.
Was it already planned, or was it something that kind of like popped
Well,
up?
they had it for years. The last person to win it was in 2011. Dexter Jackson won it.
Right.
And then they cut it out for a few years, and then you got all these good pros that are older now, and they're still going, so they brought it back.
Okay, so that's how that kind of came about. Because I was excited when they announced it. I wondering, like, did you have like a heads up?
Well, they said last year that they were going to have it. They said
Okay.
they were going to have it, but nobody had to get any details, so they actually announced it.
Okay.
Then what it was, you had to apply for an invitation, okay? But they had to even, you couldn't just apply for an invitation. They had to send you a thing for you to apply to get it, to get accepted. And then you got to send them your whole competitive history, how you've done it as a pro, your last pro show, what pictures, what you look like then, pictures of what you look like now. You had to do a video, and then they had 540 pros that applied, and they accepted 17. I didn't think I was gonna make it. Honestly, I applied, like I ain't gonna make it. So when they announced they were gonna announce live who made it, I wasn't even watching it. You know. I'm getting all these messages, congratulations. I go, shit, let me turn this on. I turn it on, my name's on there. So this guy, here's the guy to do it now.
It was a process just to be able to do.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, that's nice.
You had to work for invitation.
Yeah, they didn't make it easy. They turned a lot of people down. I think what helped me was some of these, some really good retired pros that applied, they turned them down because they haven't competed in so long. I competed last year, so they seem now still in shape. Because, you know, like somebody like, say, a Johnny Jackson hasn't competed in 3-4 years, they're not quite sure how he's going to look. Right, he's still going to have, he's going to
not make it competitive, not everybody's like the best.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But man, there's some good competition there. Phil Clahar just won the Tampa Pro. Right. He looks amazing, man. He looks amazing. He looks crazy. So he's definitely probably your front runner in that show. You know, because he's beating all these top open guys and just killing them.
Yeah, he beat us up. He took second.
Dude, he looks the best ever at 50. He looks better than he did when he was 30 and 40. Man, he looks good.
Consistency.
That's the thing. It's consistency. You know, years ago, if you go back to like the 80s, early 90s, these guys were retiring in their early 30s. Now they're getting better into their 40s, mid 40s, late 40s with the consistency. There's more knowledge now. You know, people used to train a little more destructive back then. Yeah. And they knocked themselves out of the box. By the time they're 35, their body was shot.
Can't keep up with
now there's more knowledge how to train. You train hard, but you do more time under tension. You contract the muscle, you squeeze. You don't do stupid things. You know, you leave the ego at the door. Right. And then that's part of the reason Dexter had that longevity. He never trained stupid. He didn't. You know, I'm not knocking Ronnie. Ronnie's my favorite bodybuilder all the time. But you know, Ronnie trained very destructive. Dorian trained very destructive. You know, Dexter trained a little more intelligently, and that's why he, you know, at 51, 52 years old, he was still winning pro shows. He could have still kept winning. He just retired.
That last Olympic, he looked great. He just was smaller.
Right. Right.
It was good.
Yeah, and that last Olympia, you know, that was during COVID, so he really didn't have a gym to train at.
Right.
He was training out of a garage and everything.
Right.
But if you look at it earlier that year, he got second in the Arnold to William Boniak. A lot of people thought he should have beat William Boniak. And dude, that's at 52 years old. He's getting second at the Arnold Classic.
Right.
And he won the Tampa Pro a few months before that.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Really, Vince Taylor's the one.
Well, Vince is a legend, man.
That's a legend.
Vince is almost 70 now, and he still looks good. He's like 60 years old. He still looks great. Mm-hmm. But he was the one that won the most Masters Olympias. You know, back in the day when they had it, he was just coming and clean up,
knocking them out left and right.
Because you know, Vince Taylor in his 50s, you know, he was still placing top 5 at the regular Olympia. He's definitely ageless, man. And then Vince Taylor's physique, his type of physique, no matter what time period you're in, that physique would have been top 5 because it's just a classic, flawless physique. Great shape, great structure, enough size, enough conditioning. So no matter what, you know, like sometimes you'll see the mass era, you'll see people more. You get an area that's a little more aesthetic. He fit all those eras, so that physique you could put him in any time in bodybuilding at his best. He would have been top 5.
Scouting the show out right now? Yeah, man. I'm thinking I'm gonna do of course, the legal next spring, and then I'm gonna spin off of that and try to do that Gulf Coast. See where I'm at, you know, and see what I can accomplish in the off season as far as size goes. So far, I'm doing pretty good. Keep it stuff tight and growing. You know, week by week, strength is crazy right now. So it's a matter of just fine tuning that, not getting too out of whack, but.
You can say don't get soft.
Yeah, man, don't want to get soft. So keeping, of course, the sugar out, keeping the carbs, at a good level where I can grow, but not too much to where I'll store.
That's smart bodybuilding right there.
Yep.
Because the better you stay in your off season, the better you're going to come in on stage. Mm-hmm. You know, the old way of bulking up and then cutting up, that's gone, man. Because then you got to lose way too much body fat. You got to get too extreme. You're going to lose muscle. The leaner you stay in your off season, not only will you come in better for your show conditioning wise, you'll come in bigger because you're not going to diet away muscle. You don't have to do 3 hours of cardio and cut your carbs down to nothing because you're already somewhat in shape. Right. Your body will pop into shape better. I learned that years ago. You keep it in check in your off season. That pre-contest is going to come in so much better. You'll come in bigger, harder, and tighter.
So
So people got to remember, you're a bodybuilder all year long, man, not just for 12
not
weeks.
just for a break, not just for a show. It's a lifestyle, man.
You know, anybody can work out hard, man, but it's the lifestyle that makes you a consistent lifestyle that makes you a good bodybuilder.
Right.
You know, you go to the gym, you see a lot of people working out hard, they don't look like shit, you know, because they ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing outside the gym all year. But that's what makes a difference, you know. And I always tell people, you know, I've been training people for a long time. I've been training for a long time. I've helped a lot of clients turn pro. And my best clients that have turned pro and done well as pro, yeah, they all trained hard. But it wasn't the hardest training clients. It was the most consistent clients. The ones that are most consistent day in and day out. Those are the ones that went far.
It's not so much being the big man now, it's being the smart man.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, definitely being a smart man.
That's a lot of issues where it comes like having like training partners and people that want to just hop in and work out. I'll tell them like I'll stay in that 8 to 12, 6 to 12 rep range. I don't care about 1 to 3 to 5.
No, that ain't doing nothing but they ain't doing nothing but risking injury, man, and this, you know, leave the ego at the door. We're here to build muscle, man. We're bodybuilders.
Especially when I get the hip thrust and bench press.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It never turnovers to anything.
Yeah.
They look the same.
You know, I was a big bencher back in the day. I don't do any flat barbell benching anymore. You know, my coach was Hani Rambod. He always yelled at me, "Don't do it, don't do it." And then I remember one day I was in the gym just about 6-7 years ago, and I was, you know, everybody was benching, so I jumped in the bench and I'm moving some weight. Pop that pec, man. I had to get it reattached. I called Hani. He's like, "You were fucking benching, weren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "I told you not to do it. There's better exercise you can do to build muscle." He's like, "Don't do heavy, low rep bench presses." Yeah, you're right. I was
Useless for a bodybuilder.
Yep.
What's y'all's favorite exercises y'all getting on?
Favorite? I really don't have a favorite exercise. You know, it's just.
I know you be praying. You're a doctor.
My favorite new movement is like this lever bench press, plate loaded.
Three keys.
Yeah, that one where you kind of like pick where your tension is at the top of or at the bottom of the movement. That didn't help you get away from the barbell press.
I like belt squats.
Man, I love that's the only thing I've been doing.
Because you're not getting compression on your spine. You know, when you put that bar on your back as you get older, you start getting disc problems and everything else. The belt squat's going to do the opposite. It's going to decompress your spine. Now you can still train your legs really heavy and hard, and you're not getting other issues with it. So, man, on leg day, I love some belt squats.
What you think about that vertical leg press?
Oh, vertical leg press is great, man. I just mentioned Hani Rambod. I remember when I was training for nationals, man, he made me do vertical leg press every leg workout.
That's what I do every leg press. So make sure you get that. I like that over the regular leg press. Really? Yeah.
Different angle.
Yeah. It really opened up the hips too.
Opens your hips up. You're going to get a lot of glutes in there, too.
I like that pendulum squat. Not the actual pendulum, but it's like a variation where it's the range of motion is different.
Yeah.
It's by Athletic Rogers. Athletic Rogers company makes them. My gym just got it, but it's kind of got the pad on the back.
Yeah.
And then you get in there, and then you can just hold the sides and load up the two sides, as opposed to loading the weight in the back like an actual pendulum. That is amazing.
Pendulum squats are hard movement, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's a humbler right there, man. If you do them right.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ain't nothing like heavy dumbbells on the press. That's probably my favorite feat of strength, and like my favorite thing to do right now is just picking up some heavy dumbbells and just pressing.
I mean, that's how I build my chest.
Yeah.
You know, with heavy dumbbell presses. Incline flat, but heavy dumbbell presses. They're way better than a barbell. You can get better range of motion. And then with a barbell, you're fixed in one range of motion. With a dumbbell, if you got a little area that's a little tender, your body can find a natural pathway to hit it, and you can still train hard and heavy and not hurt yourself.
That's exactly nice.
Dumbbells have always been a better exercise movement anyway.
Plus, each side gets individually worked. You know, when you're using a barbell, your strong side can take up for your weak side and push. When you're using a dumbbell, each side has to individually push. So
That's like
it's really better for your symmetry portions.
That's why I feel like when it comes to certain machines, like some of the older ones, I feel like the weight placement is sometimes favored on one side.
Right.
It's like a lot of chest or like shoulder ones where I feel like one side is harder.
Right. The lateral movements sometimes just to balance everything out.
Right.
People really do those, but it's very important that you do that.
I do a lot of training like that. That way you set balance it out because you're gonna, everybody's at least a little bit asymmetrical. That one side is better than the other.
Right.
Oh. And the best way to even that out is make each side individually work.
What's your thoughts on like some of those old school movements that you might not typically see done in the gym? Like weighted dips or weighted chin-ups, stuff like that.
Back in the day, I did a lot of them, but then as I get older, my joints get a little beat up. So I think when you're young, they're great. When you're young, you should do them. When you're young, you should do all that heavy compound stuff like that. As you get a little older, the elbows, the knees, everything else start to get a little beat up. Then you change the movement around, But yeah, to get that base, that thick, dense base, it's great. But you gotta be smart about it too. You can't just pound weight.
Right.
You almost gotta do it for a little bit, then deload and leave it alone. That's what a lot of people will do. You can't just go hard, heavy all the time. Your body won't catch up to it. So you gotta do it for a little bit, then pull it back, then do it for a little bit, then pull it back.
I just got off the deal and I feel great.
Yeah, you see that?
Great.
That's smart. Years ago, people didn't do that, but you gotta do it, because you gotta be intelligent. You don't want to just be bodybuilding in your 20s. You want to be going in your 30s and your 40s and keep going and keep getting better. So it's longevity.
You doing a show soon?
No, you ain't got one
Set
set
it out.
I'm thinking next summer, spring.
Next over spring.
I was telling him North Coast.
Okay.
That'll be a solid
That's a good show. Dean Caputo over at Kraus, they run a good show. You mentioned Dave Lieberman. My boy Dave Lieberman runs a good show. That's probably one of the best natural shows around, especially for the NPC. He runs 2 shows a year, man. He really takes care of the competitors.
I was telling people, like, when I did that national show down in Florida last year, for that to be like a local show, as far as like
everything.
the whole vibe,
Experience.
and the experience, the amount of competitors that show, might be like the closest show that you can go to that's local, that's something similar to a national
Right.
show.
He puts a lot. Well, he's a good promoter. He puts a lot into it, man. There ain't too many promoters that work as hard as he does. I don't care where I'm at. I can be in Vegas, at the Olympia. I'm in the bathroom taking a piss. I look above the urinal. There's his poster. There's his poster right up there. I got clients at a show in Michigan. I look up, there's Dave passing his flyers, man. I'm like, man, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He don't be playing.
I go to the bathroom at the Arnold. I went to Arnold last year. Everywhere.
Posters, Dave posters all in the bathroom.
Dave was a beat, man.
Dude, that's why he's successful at it. And his shows kind of become an icon in the Midwest, man. People travel everywhere to do that show. Like you mentioned, you get a 12-foot trophy. You win the overall, you get a 12-foot trophy, you get a jacket, you get a belt, you get a gym bag full of stuff. You're gonna be all over the NPC News.
That's why I gotta get that overall. And that's like a prerequisite to the bigger shows. I gotta get that.
Well, there's been a lot of pros that started out. Their first show was Dave's show, and later on, they went their way up the ranks. I can think of a lot of pros that started out with that show, and now they're big stars.
A friend of mine did Dave's show. He beat out Vince.
Oh, your boy, he was just down there in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he did to Chicago.
That's crazy that he competes in like those big pro shows like that.
No,
But
so tall.
So they were a son of stuff and guys like that. I'm like, what the heck?
Sounds a beast, man.
Yeah.
His legs are just nuts.
Cat crazy.
Yeah, that weight cut.
But he only, what, how tall is he? 5?
He's short.
He's like 5,
5'6", maybe.
something
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Something. He ain't too big.
But talk that tripod.
Yeah, right.
But he just jacked.
Well,
His back is amazing.
That's like Sean Carita, man. He's no more than about 5'2", but he's so put together, man. You look
He's
at
not
his
even close to 2 when he's winning, is he?
No. Well, you see him in person, man. He's about as stacked as you can get, man. He's got about as much muscle on that frame as you can get.
Yeah, he probably right now my favorite bodybuilder currently, just because all the like his work ethic,
He don't lack
his
nothing.
consistency, and how he just approaches everything.
We're going to see how
Never seen him
Keon
coming out of
shows.
shape.
He's been looking crazy.
Who's that?
Keon.
Oh yeah, Keon.
I'm ready for him to step on stage, see if he's going to bring That base is
He don't.
crazy.
Keon, man, that's my guy for sure. But I don't think he has the muscle maturity and the hardness to be Sean yet. He can outside Sean, probably. But Sean's too grainy.
Grainy, hard,
It's too
conditioned,
hard.
base complete. There's no weak points.
Then you
He
got
definitely deserves that title.
the guy that'll be in there too that just won the Atlanta Pro, John Jewett. How you feel about him?
Oh, he's great.
He's great. Like, man, he put it together, bro. Like his peak was
And
crazy.
this new crop of bodybuilders are incredible. People always talk, and I've been around a long time. People always talk about the '90s and everything else. But this crop today, man, they're as good as any generation. Right? They really are.
E-Banks got me. I'm like, E-Banks, he's like the height of a basketball player, but he's super jacked.
Like,
And what they say, Buendia is how you say it.
Jeremy Buendia.
He can't mess with the bench right now.
Well, we'll see how he does. He's making a comeback. He's putting some size on him. Back in the day, he was good, but the criteria was different then. Yeah, it's physique totally evolved.
Yeah.
I remember when physique first came out, man, all those bodybuilders thought it was a joke because it was just little guys with some abs. And then it evolved a little bit. Now, man, it's one of the most impressive divisions. You look at E-Banks, man, I'm like, man, look at that beat taper. He's got size. He's got structure.
Some of them got classic size shoulders on.
Some of them are bigger than classic.
Yeah.
You know, all those judges, my friends, like Andy Bartolo, Billy Sevilla, they both judge Olympia. They're like, they're putting a weight cap. They're going to put a weight cap next year on men's physique because these guys are coming in bigger than the classic guys.
Yeah. Well, some of them like 6 foot plus.
So,
Like E-Banks.
so they've been weighing these guys, all the pros at the pro shows, to kind of see where they're hovering at, and then next year they're going to put a weight. They're going to do a classic, have a height and weight cap.
That makes sense.
Because otherwise you're going to have.
It's
It's just going to keep evolving, and they're going to get bigger and bigger. You know, because when you got your physique guys, same size as classic guys, or bigger, you know, it's kind of blurring divisions there.
Yeah. That's how I feel about the women's categories. They got how many of them?
And you know,
I can't keep up with them.
Well, you figure
I don't think they. You know, I like the wellness division. You know, 'cause we all like girls with some big legs and asses, right? But as far as like women's physique, that's a horrible division now.
Yeah.
I hate to say that because I trained some women's physique clients. But when it first came out, like that Dana Lynn Bailey look, it was a good look. You know, it was like almost like figure. It was athletic. It was just maybe a little more muscular, and then it evolved, and now women's physique is like bodybuilding was. They were getting rid of women's bodybuilding because it was too masculine, too hard. Well, now they evolved women's physique to that level. You know, it's like, man, what's the point of doing that? They should have kept it the way it was. You know, because it's not that I'm against it. You do whatever you want. You can still appreciate the physique, even if you don't like it. You can appreciate the hard work it went in developing that. Like I remember looking at Iris Kyle. I didn't like her look, but I seen her on the Olympia stage. I'm like, man, it's like a work of art. The work and the dedication that she took to look like that, so I can respect it, even though I don't like the look. You know, but women's physique, man, it's not a marketable look now because it's becoming too masculine. You know, when it first came out, it was a marketable look. Every girl liked it. So now for women, wellness division, everybody wants. You know, it's a good look too.
it's popular right now.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's debatable.
Well, even the girls that aren't wellness, they all think they're wellness. Okay,
Yeah.
they all think, oh, I'm wellness because I got bigger legs and a bigger butt. You got a fatter leg and fatter butt. Doesn't mean you're wellness. You diet down, that ain't there.
Right, it ain't there. Yeah.
Because you look at those girls at the top pro level, man. Yeah, those girls got the thick legs and the thick glutes and everything else, but they're tight and they're shredded.
Right.
You know, it's not just holding. Because all women, in most cases, they hold more body fat in their lower body. So these girls are thinking they're wellness when they're just out of shape.
Yeah, you'll never see like the Linda Murray.
That's honestly nowadays, where would you put her? You know,
Mm-hmm.
back then, even female bodybuilding, you know, we thought it was over the top back then, but it wasn't. You know, it was classic. It was a classy look. Where would Linda fit now? You know, she wouldn't be figure, she wouldn't be wellness, she wouldn't be physique.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, she could be figure, but she'd have to come in much harder and tighter. These girls come in so hard and tight now. I remember back when Nicole Wilkins and those girls were winning figure, they weren't that hard. It was a softer look. You know, and if they came in really hard and really separated, they got marked down. Now those are the girls that are winning. But I mean, I do like the figure look because, you know, you look at some of these girls now and it's like, man, their tapers are just amazing. Their knee tapers are just outrageous. What do you guys think about the Open Olympia? You got with it?
This year, next year.
I might have to go with a repeat champ, but
I don't know.
Yes, I'm repeat champs, and I'm taking Nick Walker up out of there because don't forget you're gonna have some upsets like the one dude Samson. But don't forget about the one not Andrew Jack. He just won like the Toronto or something.
You talking about
The one with the dreads, the braids, the short black.
not Antonio Burton?
Yeah.
He's not ready for that. He
cracking.
package.
I give him top 10.
Man, I'm gonna go with you know, and I think Heidi Chupon, he's always gonna come in shape, so he's definitely gonna be in the mix to win it because he just comes in crazy. But I think biggest competition now I think is gonna be two guys. I think obviously Derek Lunsford came in second, but he's just getting more muscle maturity now. And he's got one of the most that front relaxed, just extreme. And he got Hani Rambod as his coach. I mean, obviously he's Hani's coach too, but he's only getting better and better this offseason. And then Samson just looking amazing. Samson has what they had, but with a better structure. You know, because people see him at the Olympia, and he wasn't as good at the Olympia as when he came to the Arnold. He came in rounder with more conditioning. Now you think that, and that's why he beat Nick. And Nick's a great bodybuilder. But Nick and Samson really didn't get compared that much at the Olympia. When you compare them both at their best, as good as Nick is, Samson's going to expose them because of his structure and shape. You know, so if you got that size and you got that conditioning similar to a Nick, but he's 5 inches taller with wider clavicles and a smaller waist and rounder muscle bellies, he's gonna beat Nick 5 out of 6 times. You know, that's so. I really think Samson's going to ruin a lot of people's days if he comes in shape, because even with Derek and Hottie, those guys are 5'7", 5'8", and then you get Samson coming in like 6'1", with wider clavicles, smaller, you know, exactly, with the same conditioning. You know, the old saying, the good big guy beats a good small guy.
I got Remy dropping down too.
Remy may not even do it because he has to qualify.
No. Once you win Mr. Olympia, you never have to qualify.
That's true.
But the thing about Rami is, I don't think he got a fair shake. You know, they were pissed at him after he no-showed Jim Mannion at Pittsburgh for guest posing last year. And I was standing right there. I should even say, I should keep my mouth shut. I don't get no trouble. But I heard Mannion say, people are going to be saying Rami who when I'm done with him. And, you know, I think they kind of got over that. But what kills me is, okay, maybe Rami wasn't at his best, but he's still very impressive. No matter what, he's impressive. You can dog him all he wants. He's still the widest guy on the stage. Got small waist, got huge quads. You know, the fact that the current Mr. Olympia never got compared is unheard of. Because let's say you're off. Okay, let's say Ronnie Coleman came in off, Jay Cutler came in off, Dorian Yates, Lee Haney at their best. You're still going to get the first call out, you put in the middle, and then if they see you're off, they move you out. But the fact that you're the reigning Mr. Olympia, you're supposed to get that comparison, okay? And then if you're off, they can move you out and they move other people in. He never got that comparison. He should have got the first call out put right in the middle at the Olympia, and then if you see he's not matching up, you pull him out of there. He never got that. He never got compared. He never got compared to Heidi Chupon or Derek Lunsford. You know, they had him way at the end, right at the beginning. They put him in the middle. They did the same thing to him. They did the same thing to him at the Arnold, man. They keep him better at the Arnold, and they kept him at the side. They should have put him right. They should have put him right next, right in between Nick and Samson to see how he compared, but they never did. So that kind of showed me it's like, man, they're a little upset with him.
I think Samson can pull it off this year. Either Samson or Derek. I know how he's just gonna pop up and do what he do.
He's gonna come in good.
Man, Samson is he's making so much ground. He's covering so much ground, and he's just young. His body's fresh, so he's just got the potential to really take over. And sneak on, what's his name too? He's looking great. Hunter LeBron, he's coming. He looks better than he's ever.
I think he's gonna be top 5. Man. Last year really opened his eyes, man. Hunter's very complete too. They used to talk about his back. His back ain't no weak point anymore, man. His back is jacked. It looks good. And then you got Andrew Jack. If he comes in shape, man, I think he's got the best front double bicep and abs and thigh bodybuilder.
Oh yeah.
With that tiny waist, that flare those labs.
Crazy abs on stage. And with him, he's same thing with Samson. He's even fresher than Samson.
Right.
You know, he's just really started bodybuilding. He's getting the right people around him.
If Samson brings the same conditioning he brought to the Arnold with a little bit of a better back, I think he'll win it. Yeah. He just has to bring a little more from the back. Especially when you're going up against guys like Derek and back's just crazy. It's just off the chain.
I'm really excited though. This is September this year, so it's not even that long.
It's gonna be in Orlando too.
It's in November.
September.
They moved it.
Yeah.
No, it's November.
Oh, it's November.
November 4th.
November 4th. Okay.
Yeah. But they moved it from Vegas to Orlando, which last year was in December, so they moved it up a month.
You went up a month, right?
But Vegas used to be a cool place to have, but not anymore. Vegas ain't the same, man.
It's not.
No, I went to the Olympia last year in Vegas, and man, ever since COVID, Vegas sucks, man. Prices are too high, it's too hard to get anywhere. They ain't like it used to be, you know. So that's why they moved to Orlando. The cost of it. Like I remember I used to go to Vegas for the Olympia, man. You could get away with it fairly reasonable. Vegas wasn't that bad. Man, we went there this December, man, and the prices of everything were almost triple. It was ridiculous.
That's crazy.
You was just in Vegas, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You went after this show?
No, I was down there, what, a month or two ago?
And then even to use a gym, it's like all these gym owners.
It's like,
They knew the Olympia was in town,
Oh, so they know.
so you were paying $50 for a day pass to work out.
it was 30 when I went.
30 at line,
Just regular Dragons, like-
at Dragon's Lair, yeah. The other gyms were $40 and $50. I'm like, are you crazy?
That's a problem because Dragons there is one of the popular gyms in Vegas right now.
Yeah, I went there and it was so packed, couldn't get on it though, because it's not that big of a gym. Everybody was there.
You got LV Fit Club, that's another popular.
Las Vegas Athletic Club.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. I went over to Iris Kyle and Yamaguchi gym, their powerhouse. It was all right. What I did like, they had a good posing room.
Somebody told me they like the Tar House more than they like they had.
I mean, it wasn't as crowded.
Okay.
And then they had a good posing room with good lighting, good mirrors. So that was pretty cool. You go in there for actual posing. You had like mirrors all the way around, so you could see your back double and everything else when you're hitting it, and see if you're sitting on your hammies and all that. So that was pretty cool.
I gotta make my way to Chiles College. I haven't seen Iris in a while.
It's not that big of a gym, but it's a nice gym. Which her man's doing the Masters Olympia. He's doing the 212 though.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Saturday.
He looks good. He looks good. He looks good.
My nephew
But
bought
I'm
something.
sorry, if he was in the open, I would have went the floor up with him.
My nephew brought up that nobody's talking about Brandon.
Brandon
Who?
Curry.
Because
He's
Brandon,
old.
he's a great bodybuilder, but he hasn't really made any improvements in the last 4 years. You know, 2019 he won, but I mean, obviously that's because Sean Roden couldn't compete. Phil retired, so that's probably your weakest year. He looked great, but he does not have the hamstrings and the glutes to compete with a Heidi Chupin anymore.
That's how I feel
Derek
about
Longford.
Bonac too.
You know, and then Bonac, honestly, I think his biggest problem is he blew his waist out. It's too thick.
Yeah.
He's got round 3D muscle like Phil, and he's got everything. But on that little short frame, he just blew his waist out. Even when he hits his abs and thigh, he has to hit it like this now because he doesn't want to show how blocky he's got. You know, and part of body set, you know, you can't just put on size at the expense of losing your aesthetics.
That's like the biggest no.
Right.
Roelli.
Roll.
He had that same issue with Winker. He was great, but he just was that
He
waist.
was playing the big man
That
game.
waist.
When he did, he was huge. There's no doubt about it. But he never came in condition. You know, he had the biggest arm, the biggest shoulder, the biggest everything. I mean, him and Rami at their prime, he was bigger than Rami. He was bigger. You know, I've seen him bowl, and he never dialed it in. His quads never fully separated. He never had shredded glutes. You know, the waist was a little thick. My pro debut back in 2013, I did Chicago Pro, and I competed against Willie. And when I say competed, he won the show. So obviously, I mean, I was no competition for him. But he wasn't as big back then. But, you know, it was a hell of a look. And I think he was high as a kite, man. He's sitting backstage. He's like this. You know, he looked like he just smoked the ball. He's all covered up. Everybody's pumping up, getting oiled up. And I'm like, Rolly, man, you're about to go on stage. Like, oh, really? So he had to strip down. They had to oil him up in line because he wasn't even paying attention. And I'm looking at him because I got put right behind him in line. I'm like, man, he don't look that impressed. So I'm like trying to reason in my mind. We get on stage. He gets in that front, relaxed. And was like, everything just started popping. I'm like, ah. Then he hit a front double. I was like, man, get me off the stage. It was like a transformer. He got in that front relax, and those lats just flared right out. The waist went in small. You know, hit that front double, man. It was just game over. And he didn't even come on 100% for that show. That was just he doing that to qualify for the Olympia. He probably came in about 80%. He's still cleaned house.
It's funny, like, when you get to that level, it's like you can kind of dial it in on how hard you need to prep for it, just to kind of get that dub so you can push it.
You might not get away with that now because there's some good young guys coming up.
Yeah.
You know, they're hungry.
It's gonna be exciting. T12 and Open Olympia this year. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, some shakeups for sure.
Classics will be good too.
Class is gonna be good.
I'm gonna have to go with a repeat.
Yeah, Chris, we are to be, man. Especially with Monty coach.
Yeah, Dino not ready.
Not yet.
He'll be the next. And then after that,
Unless somebody just come off the wood.
only person that right now can come up is either yours or I want to say Terrence, but I'm just unsure with him right now.
He's too small.
Terrence is inconsistent.
He's
man.
just inconsistent.
One time he'll come in and it's like, man, he looks so good. Next time he'll come in, he'll be 20% off. If he could just nail that every time,
I feel like that weight cap is going to hinder him.
they need to raise it a little bit.
Yeah.
You need to raise it a little bit. I'm not even saying a lot. Raise it 10 pounds. Because these guys are dieting way too hard to make that weight. And honestly, you're making the sport dangerous then because they have to really cut down to make this weight. You got guys 20 pounds over the weight cap a week out that are doing all this crazy stuff to make weight. Right. So I think they just need to make it a little.
Some grapefruit.
Yeah, right. It's a fantastic.
I got a client right now, Antonio Cummins. I'm getting ready for the Walton Pro. He's class physique as a pro, and it's like, man, he just barely makes that weight cap. It's like, what do I do with him? Because I want to bring his legs up a little bit. But I bring his legs up, he's not gonna make weight. And his back is insane. I mean, if I could just bring his legs up, and his legs, we did bring him up, but when we got to suck him down, you're going to lose it from the area, and that's where he loses it from. So even if we had another 5-6 pounds, man, that would make all the difference in the world. I mean, the weight cap's a little easier for the taller guys than the shorter guys.
How you feel about going into your big show, man?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I didn't really feel I should do my off season and stay consistent.
I know. I see your
I'm about to
vacation
say,
pictures.
Good ass, man. Good.
Yeah, I feel like after I clean up this time, I feel like I'll be okay. I was talking to Mike the other day, and he was telling me, I need to bring my upper chest up, so I've been keeping that focus. So,
No, he gonna be on.
huh?
No, he gonna
No, I'm
be on.
talking about Eli. Yeah, we had talked the other day. So me, I need to bring my upper chest up, so I'm putting focus on that. But I got to run this whole 16 weeks. I want to get lean as possible without biting into any muscle.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to do that. This prep. It's so mean with this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be unreal.
Nice.
When is your show?
It's December 7th.
Okay, December 7th.
Yeah,
Nice
good
time.
time.
Get together. And is that the Ben Weaver show?
No, that's national.
No, that's national.
Yeah, that's
Right,
a
okay.
Gary Hughes show.
Gary Hughes, right.
Yeah, NBC National.
For you winning the Dave show and the show and placing where you did in the show after that allowed you to
Qualified me.
for that.
PA qualified me. That was Gary's show.
Right.
And when I just did with you.
Yeah, all right. Did you win that show after the Dave show?
No, I played second.
Second,
I played second.
Because you should be good up
and I
until
did
next year,
third
too,
in class.
to go to nationals.
Yeah, I am. Because I got second in the Open.
Yeah, so you
One,
be
two,
qualified for a full year.
You get top 2 of the Open, you qualify.
Yeah.
You get the rest of this year and the whole fall next year.
Oh, wow.
That's what I'm saying. Next year.
So, yeah, I got time.
You go to nationals.
If it wasn't my first show, and would it be in my first show and kind of having that inexperience with competing and prepping and all that, I felt a need to just really shut it down for a year.
That's smart, man. Too many people that they want to qualify for nationals, they go straight to national, and they ain't ready for it yet.
Not ready.
And all you're gonna do is spend thousands of dollars and be disappointed. Where you can just do what you're doing, take a little time, get a little bit better, and bring it in. Because when you get to that, you gotta remember everybody at nationals won overall titles. Those guys are all good, man.
Right.
So you might go to a show and think you're the man, but man, you got everybody coming out the woodwork. These guys are all amazing, man. So remember, when you want to win nationals, you should look like a pro. If you don't look like a pro, you ain't ready to go to nationals. I don't care if you're qualified or not. If you don't look like a pro, then you're not ready for nationals. Then I also tell people, it's like people want to do nationals and they're like not quite ready condition wise. I'm like, if you don't bring pro level conditioning, there ain't no way you're gonna win.
Yeah, that's what you're competing for as a pro guard.
Yeah.
Literally.
Straight glutes, hams, dug, the whole nine.
Because your whole top 10 is gonna have that.
That's gonna have that.
You try to get in Pittsburgh shot.
Eventually, but like I said, I just want to win that overall first and game show, and then kind of have that
That's good storm stuff.
confidence.
Yep.
Because with me coming so close for my first show, and not even having I got my coach at 4 weeks out. Jonathan TT.
Johnson.
That's my
Johnson.
coach.
I've known Johnson for years.
Man, he got a hold of me and really did wonders in a matter of 4 weeks. So now that I got him doing my off season and when we start prep, at a proper rate, I'll be able to be miles ahead of the physique I brought last spring. And I'm gonna gauge that as far as how I do there on if I'll just keep going and try the North Coast. Just see where I can stack up against those guys. Yeah, eventually, next year's gonna be that year where I do multiple shows and stuff. Got a taste of one.
Mm-hmm.
I was anxious to kind of make some improvements. Like I already am. Like I'm 215 now, and when I started prep last year, I was 230, and I'm way bigger, way stronger at 215, and I wasn't 230. So that's indicative of the post-show diet, staying on stuff properly, training hard, training effectively. So everything right now is going great.
I hear people ask me, so what are you gonna eat after the Olympia? What are you gonna eat? I ain't even thinking about food. I ain't thinking about food. I got my whole life to eat something. I'm going to the Olympia, man. I'm just focused on bringing the conditioning, coming in the best I can. So too many people put too much emphasis on eating whatever they want, man. You got your whole life to eat whatever you want, man. But you're building your dynasty, your legacy right now, man. You don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people not built for this.
No, they're not. They're not. It sounds good to them. Like, oh man, I want to do a show. People like, I want to do a show, man. I want to look at you. Then you get them 2 weeks in the prep. They drop out. They quit. Like, yeah, they don't realize what it takes.
It takes a lot.
I was in that category before I did my show.
Consistent discipline, man. And it's like Mike Tyson said, discipline is doing the stuff you don't want to do, and doing it like you love it, day in and day out.
How do you handle, or have you had any clients that felt like they should have placed better than they did? Kind of like that reality check.
I think everybody at one time or another thinks they should have played better than they did.
Yeah.
And there's different ways you handle it. And sometimes maybe they should have, but it's a subjective sport. No matter what, I always tell everybody, it's a subjective sport. And you're at the mercy of your 6 or 7 judges and what their opinion is, and you know that going into it. So you may think you look better, and you might actually look better, but opinion is they thought somebody else looked better. Like Ronnie Coleman said years ago, he likes apples, I like oranges. It might be a really good apple and I really like orange, a really good orange, but my opinion is I like the orange better. And that could happen in a bodybuilding show. One guy might have more muscle, one guy might have more condition, one guy, whatever that judge's preference is. But then there's some people that are delusional. They think they look better than they do.
Yeah, let's talk about the delusional.
And there's a lot of that out there. Man. There's a lot of that out there. And people think they look better than they do. And the best thing to do is be nice about it, but you got to be real with them. Because otherwise they're gonna be very disappointed. They might even leave the sport because you're putting all this time, all this energy in. You gotta be realistic with yourself. You gotta be realistic with the clients where you're really at. Obviously we all want to be Mr. Olympia, but not everybody can do it. So you gotta be realistic where you're at too. You gotta be realistic and say, hey, you know what? I do need a bigger back. I do need a bigger quad sweep. I could have come in more conditioned. I shouldn't have took that cheat meal I took because I was tired. I should have got up and did that cardio, whatever it is. I should practice my posing. So you just gotta be real with people, because this is probably the hardest sport there is because it's 24/7. You go, play basketball, play football, you practice, you go to the game, you go home. you know, and you live your life. This, man, you got to meal prep. You got to be on top of your meals every 2.5 hours. You got to do your cardio. You got to do your workout. You got to practice your posing. You know, and then on top of that, none of us are rich, so we got to work a job and do all that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, man, it's consuming.
And usually, you know, the people that aren't succeeding, they're not doing everything they're supposed to be doing. You know when somebody's doing it when they're not. They can say, "Oh, I'm following it," but if 1 + 1 is equaling 4, something's off. You know, because everybody's body's a little different. But you do the basics, and something's gonna happen. And if nothing's happening, something's wrong. Then that's when you start adjusting your macros, your micros, to make a little more happen. But if they're supposed to be doing it and stuff ain't happening, they ain't doing it. People say they're 100%. They don't know what really 100% is. 100% is 100%. Doesn't mean you can nibble on this. Doesn't mean you can grab this. Doesn't mean you can skip this. 100% is doing everything you're supposed to be doing. And that's what the pros do.
You stick to the program.
You know, it is not easy. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do.
When I was in my prep, like I said, it was different because I've never done a prep before.
Yeah.
And I did a whole prep for a year for that show.
That's a long prep.
Yeah, but I had to do it. My first time out the box, I was trying to go for the home run.
Well, you know, honestly, I consider a prep a whole year. So I consider your off-season part of your prep.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you know, it's just different. It's just, that's the building part of your prep. That's bringing up the weak part of your prep. You know, your weak body part's part of your prep. But your prep, you should view it as your whole year as a prep because you're still working to create what you'll bring on stage next year. Okay. So if you're in your off-season, it's a different part of your prep, but you're still preparing for that stage. You're in a different part of it. You're not in the cutting phase of it yet. You're in the building phase, and you're in, you know, making yourself, you know, more symmetrical, whatever the case might be. So you got to view it as, you know, a prep all year long. And yeah, there's more leeway in the off season because you get more calories, you can take more cheat meals, whatever the case may be. But you still have to view it like, okay, you want to win the North Coast next year. You got to start preparing for that right now. You got to kill every workout. You can't miss meals. You got to take in the proper nutrients, you know, enough protein, enough carbs, enough fats to build that muscle. And like we said, still stay lean enough where you're not getting sloppy. So when you start the cutting phase, that's going to go better. So really, all year is a prep. It's just what part you're
right
in.
now. You know, for the North Coast, man, that's
I'm scared to have a cheat.
but it's just about what type of cheat meal.
Right.
Cheat meals that I
I'm
just
keeping it simple. Just let me get a couple of eggs and a pancake. And that's it.
You bet. Shit.
That ain't bad at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
One thing I just try to avoid entirely is cheat meals from sugars.
Right.
I can do, you know, some fats, some calories, some carbohydrates, because I can burn that. But too much sugar, it instantly stores.
Well,
you can see it.
And then you got to earn that cheat meal. There's people cheating all week that they want a cheat meal. I'm like, you cheated all week. Well, your cheat meal, you cheated yesterday, you cheated the day before. You got to earn that cheat meal. You can be on point to earn that cheat meal. Then your body will use that cheat meal.
Right.
If you're on point with everything, then your body will use that cheat meal up. If you're cheating all the time, you don't get no cheat meal.
Between that, a cheat meal turned into a cheat day.
Right. That's another thing. People think they turn a cheat meal into a cheat day. That don't work either. Cheat meal is a cheat meal.
Cheat meals, honestly, is only really heavily on you when you're prepping. Because honestly, now that I'm in the off season, like I can have a cheat meal if I want, but I don't desire it because my hunger is
Right. You're eating so much
I'm eating
food.
so much food.
Right.
It's like it's cool.
You're eating so much food in your off season, you know, so you can have one, but you don't always want it. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know. And your body, you're just gonna feel like shit when you eat it anyways. Your body's so used to eating clean food and metabolizing the clean food that when you do eat something bad, man, you feel bloated, you feel tired, you feel sick. You think you're gonna like it, you enjoyed eating it for 5 minutes, but then for the next 4 hours, you feel horrible.
So like when I was in Miami, man, I was on this post show, and on my birthday, I felt like shit out there, man, because just having to eat the food that was out there, and not being able to drink my water, and not being able to eat anything that I was eating in prep. I gained 20 pounds of water,
Rebound.
salt,
Yeah.
I don't feel that bad.
That's so easy.
I told you that shit
I had
happened to you.
I had an edema. I broke my socks.
That's so easy. That's so easy to do.
Eyes swell up. You know, it was crazy because I had pants on when I was on the flight leaving, and then I had them on the whole night. And then when I woke up that morning in Miami and put some shorts on, I said, "What the hell is going on?" It just freaked me out. So when I came home,
Your body can rebound so bad, and it's so unhealthy because all that has to be processed through your kidneys, man. And it's so stress on your kidneys, stress on your heart. That's why all my clients, I give them a reverse diet. Okay. So I tell them after your show that night, have a meal, whatever you want. That morning, the next morning, have breakfast, and right back on a plan. It's going to be more calories, but it's going to be the proper calories to prepare your body.
Exactly. And I do some. I take potassium twice a day.
Flush it out.
Drink 2 gallons of water. Drop the carbs. And I ended up losing 25 pounds of water and salt by that following week. So I tightened back up real quick.
But you're right. It takes about a week to regulate that.
That whole reaction was just like, whoa, what the heck? So from that moment on, I just tried to stay as tight as I could. I got that reverse diet and stayed on that. And I've been holding it together.
Man, I had a client I got ready for a show a couple years ago. He's a monster. I don't know if you guys know Big Bill. You know, he's about 6'3", 300 pounds. He's a monster, okay? He did a show, and then right after the show, he went crazy. You know, and I didn't see him for 2 days. 2 days later, I see him, and it's 90 degrees out, and he's got this long sweatshirt, and I know why. He wanted me to see what he looks like. He put on 65 pounds in 2 days. I said, dude, how did you do that? You know, he said he was doing nothing but eating pizza and donuts and everything else and taking a nap and doing it. He put on 60. And talk about edema, man. I mean, he pulled his sock up and it looked like, you know, he had rubber bands in there all dug in. Wow. He never did that again after that, but that show, yeah, he did that.
It's like you want to take a quick trip to the hospital.
Oh yeah, it's easy. Because it's really just the psyche of a show when with food and stuff.
Right.
Your relationship with food is totally different.
I was more so just thirsty.
Man, you would eat a house.
I always tell everybody,
You're thirsty too.
you know, you're dieting for a show and you're prepping for a show, and all you're thinking about is food that whole time. But once you dehydrate and you get on stage, that whole day you ain't getting nothing but water. And you care less about eating. That's how important water is for us.
Exactly.
You know, because that whole day you're just thinking about drinking some water. You care less about eating.
Water. Because like I said before, right during my prep of my show, my prep coach was like, that day that she was like, don't touch any water.
Chewing on the ice cube.
Yeah, I did have an ice cube before I got on the freeway.
But even that shows how important water is for your body, man. You get people in the off season not drinking their water, whatever. Your muscles are made up 80% water, you know. So
Exactly. Not drinking water.
you know, that's why I say even if you're dieting for 4 or 5 months, you dehydrate yourself for a couple days, and it's all you think about is water. That's how important water is for your body.
I think I sucked down a gallon after I got off from stage.
It's easy to do that.
Even then, you got to be careful, okay? Because you dehydrate yourself so severely. You don't want to just guzzle water because you're going to overload your kidneys. You got to start bringing it back in slowly. So each hour, add a little more, add a little more. So when you get off stage, drink about 12 or 15 ounces. Next hour, drink maybe 17 or 18 ounces. Keep adding it back in. So if you just flush your kidneys with a gallon of water when you get off stage, it's going to overload it because it was so dehydrated.
Right.
So you got to be careful with that.
Process on that. You should add electrolytes back in, stuff like that.
And that's the biggest thing you need to do is put electrolytes in. Because when you're not drinking, that's what really messes you up. Is not only the fluid volume, but you just pee out all your electrolytes. You have no electrolytes in you, and that's what's dangerous.
That's why my coach had me sipping Gatorade Zero on the day of the show.
I always bring a little bit of Pedialyte with me, and after my show, I'll start sipping the Pedialyte, start getting it back in. And the worst thing I see people do is like they'll go after a show and they'll drink. I'm like, man, you're already dehydrated and you're drinking?
Man.
Oh, right, yeah.
Man.
So you just did a show and to celebrate afterwards you went drinking, man. You're just looking for trouble.
It was funny that you say that because after my show, and I had some close friends of mine that was on there, that was in town and stuff, and so let's go out, let's do something. And I was in the place for about 30 minutes, and I'm like, I gotta go.
I went home
annoyed, tired, everything. I said, man, I'll catch up. I left. Because at that point, your body's just so beat up, you gotta shut it down.
I gotta close out.
It's that time?
Mm-hmm.
That's good because I got clients that do it for me, so it works out well, bro.
All right, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're done for today. Y'all be safe out there. Y'all try to stay cool.
Thanks for having us on, brother, and check me out. Check me out in Romania on August 27th at the Masters of Mystery Olympia. I'll be representing Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm bringing my best package. Yes, sir.
There we go.
And you got a posing clinic tomorrow, right?
Posing clinic tomorrow. Old School Line at noon. Come on out. $10. I got about 9 different pros teaching every division. So you can't beat it, and we make sure it's a really good experience for everybody. So tomorrow, Old School Iron at noon. It's only $10. Come on, check it out. Said I'll have 9 different IFU pros there helping out every single class, and you can't beat it.